in June of '99, Valentin Yumashev and Tatiana Dyachenko, daughter of the president, came to me and said that there is a very good guy to be supported for the position of the president of Russia. And his name is Vladimir Putin. And they want my support, well, the same kind of support as it was in 1996. And I was absolutely stunned because politically, Putin at the time was a non-entity. And secondly, he was from KGB, which also didn't make me happy. And I said, no, listen, that this time you do yourself your campaign, you have plenty of time, you don't have this desperate situation we had in '96, but they said, okay, you should at least get acquainted with him. I met him a few times in the Kremlin, but he spoke very little and I had no clear image of him. Okay, and one of my friends, Mr. Ravin, arranged a dinner with Mr. Putin and myself. And after 3 hours long Russian dinner, I knew as little about Mr. Putin as I did in the beginning of our meeting. And I came to a conclusion that actually there is no hidden depth, that he is what he looks like, that's all. And
what does he look like?
Invisible man. I don't know how to describe it. There was a peculiar episode during this dinner. Okay, you will decide to use it or not. You read about it anyway. Okay, during the dinner, also wives of Mr. Avin and my wife were present. Putin's wife was somewhere. He actually came with his 2 daughters. It was clear that he is a good and caring father, but the girls, of course, were uninterested, you know, to sit our boring dinner, and they came to the garden to play. My wife was late, actually, because she was returning from Sheremetyevo airport to wave goodbye to our older daughter, who came for the last 3 weeks of the boarding school in the UK. Okay, that's why I know that it was June, because school finished very early July. And in a while, when we were about to say goodbye to each other, my wife's mobile rang. And it was our daughter who already reached London. But unfortunately, she was not met by a school car. And according to school rules, she could use only a school car to drive to the school. So she had a choice to call the school, to wait for a car, which need to drive all the way and then drive back. So 2-3 more hours, you know, to reach the school. Or she could just take a taxi, because school was near Ascot, and in, I don't know, 30 minutes to be in school. But of course she was going to be reprimanded next day by her tutor, but okay, you can survive it after all, after 3 years, after some time in the boarding school. So my wife told her, okay, don't wait. who cares? Take a taxi and go to school. No point to waste time in Heathrow. And for the first time during this dinner, Mr. Putin spoke at his own volition, because he was just answering a question before. You should ask direct question, and only then he would give you some short answer, okay? Which wouldn't provide you many clues. This time he started to speak without being asked. And he told my wife, you know, you gave a very bad advice to your daughter. My wife, who had no idea what is this dinner all about. He knew Ivan and his wife, and that it's a very nice house, but he had no idea who was the man, you know, sitting in front of her. And she asked with some irritation, but why? He said, you shouldn't tell your daughter to take, you know, a random taxi. Okay, you cannot be sure that it is a taxi. My wife was saying, okay, listen, we're talking about London. You know, there are these big black cars and very clear sign, a taxi. You can't make a mistake. He said, it doesn't matter. You can never be sure that it's a real taxi. And he wished well. You should understand, it was not some kind of joke. He was not trolling my wife. He was serious. As a good father, he was giving her an advice. And my wife realized that there is a man saying seriously that our daughter may be kidnapped in London by some car which looks like taxi but is not. And she was absolutely stunned, and then she told me when she realized who Putin was, and even later when he became a president, that it says volumes about his mentality. Initially I disagreed and tended, you know, to wave out the whole conversation, but later on I decided that probably she was right, because as I told you already, the most important thing for a KGB man to keep things under control.